We're now going to warm up the organs of articulation. An athlete warms up before any kind of a race, and if you're doing any kind of vocal performance, you need to warm up your organs of articulation. If you don't, you can stumble over your words, make mistakes, or even have vocal strain. Now, the organs of articulation are your lips, your tongue, your jaw, and your soft palate. The jaw. The jaw is the enemy of the West of Scotland teen. When the teens get taller, the jaw seems to fuse. I joke about it, but really young people seem to have an issue with opening their jaw. They tend to like to clench it together and mumble. So you have to open your jaw, or be aware that opening your jaw is a good thing. So open it like a goldfish. Allow it to just fall open. Slow and fast. There are some exercises you can also do for your jaw by repeating after me these phrases. How odd of Aunt Marjorie to walk past the bar. How odd of Aunt Marjorie to walk past the bar. Now, if you hear yourself saying, how odd of Aunt Marjorie to walk past the bar, hear the difference when you allow that jaw to just drop open a wee bit further. How odd of Aunt Marjorie to walk past the bar. The next one is, I came out of the cave alone. I came out of the cave alone. Now listen to that nice I sound. I like almond tarts, apple pie, and ice cream. Repeat. I like almond tarts, apple pie, and ice cream. And with the jaw opening, those vowel sounds sound much, much richer.
Good morning and welcome to UWS News for Media, Culture and Society. I'm Heather Rice. The Scottish Parliament marks its 20th anniversary, with Holyrood planning a year-long programme of special events to commemorate. Joining us in the studio to talk about one particular launch is Presiding Officer of the Scottish Parliament, Ken McIntosh. Thanks very much for joining us, Ken.
My pleasure, Heather.
So I understand you were taking a tour of the UWS campus earlier this morning. Can you talk a little bit about what you thought of Media, Culture and Society departments?
I can't tell you how impressed I am. I used to work, before I became an MSP, I used to be a TV producer. And I have to say, we would dream of facilities like this. Absolutely fantastic. Your studio here, the music facilities too were incredibly impressive. Although we were laughing that you're still down in a basement. You always end up in a basement if you're working in music or TV, but unbelievably good facilities. So I want to go back to college now.
So you had mentioned you worked in the BBC, so I'm assuming environments such as this might be not too much out of your comfort zone, hopefully.
Yes, well, it's very familiar, although the technology's moved on a lot since when I was on TV. It's amazing, 20 years, how things changed that way. But yes, the environment and the basic job remains the same. But when I was on TV, the TV facilities were perhaps not quite as good as the facilities you now have at this university. So just shows you again.
Do you miss a career working in the media?
I do. I mean, the BBC, I can say, I always worked in the BBC. I didn't work for all the independents, although I was aware of them. And the BBC was fantastic. It's just a great organisation to work for. It's that mixture between working, in a public service and working in quite a glamorous industry still, broadcasting. And I always worked in news and current affairs. And from day one, it was actually just the people I worked with. I knew, because I never quite knew what I wanted to do. And day one at the BBC, I just knew these are the people I want to work with. Got the same ideas, the same commitment to public service, but also engaged in the world around them. So, but yes, but I don't regret going into politics either. So it's I've been very fortunate.
So for the Scottish Parliament 20th anniversary, you're working alongside Creative Media Network Scotland, and it's a project involving students. Can you talk about a little bit what that is?
Yes, the key here is it's 20 years now, which I find hard to believe, but it's 20 years since the Parliament was established. And we want to not just mark that anniversary, but use it as a way to see, where we got to, what have we achieved, and what can we achieve? How do we re-engage with the people of Scotland? The Scottish Parliament was a huge change in my lifetime, and this idea that it would give Scotland the confidence to take decisions about health, education, justice, and so on, and shape the future of our society and our economy. It was so exciting, and we want to make sure that excitement is still there. So for your generation, you'll know nothing other than the Scottish Parliament. It's always been there. So we want to take this opportunity to find out, well, what do people make of it? It's all very well for people like me saying it's been a transformation, but that was then. What now? So we're hoping to use this competition, a series of 1-minute films or documentaries, asking people to say, what's the Scottish Parliament done? What difference has it made? How has it transformed your life, or how are you aware of it? And then hopefully that will throw us forward as to what we can do. How do we engage, and what more can the Scottish Parliament offer the people of Scotland?
Well, and do you think that the Scottish Parliament have done a good job in the last 20 years?
Well, I do. I mean, because having grown up in Scotland and lived in the time before the Scottish Parliament and now, I know that I can see the difference it's made. Just the difference in self-confidence alone, the fact that the best example I might give would be the smoking ban. Now, I know that's going back a bit now, but Scotland used to have one of the worst health records. Still does have a pretty poor health record compared to other Western European countries, for example. We had terrible record on cancer, terrible record on heart disease, dental health. We were an unhealthy nation. But, that's nobody's fault but ours. We can't blame somebody else for our misfortune. It's what we eat, what we drink, what we smoke, the exercise we do or don't take. And the whole point about the smoking ban was saying, well, we'll take charge of this. We're going to ban smoking in public places. We're going to denormalise smoking. And so there's a whole new generation now grown up where you can still choose to smoke if you wish to, but it's not the normal, it's not the accepted norm. And the difference has been, we've saved thousands of lives and increased the longevity of people's lives and given them, happier, healthier lives. But I think more than anything else, it's given us that recognition that we control our own lives, our own future. And if we want to have a better environment, we can shape it ourselves. And that's the message I think the Scottish Parliament has given the people of Scotland.
Yeah. So with the student 1-minute documentaries, from what I understand, it's a celebration of the last 20 years of having devolved powers. So what do you think is in store for our country over the next 20 years?
No, that's difficult. Can I just say that my record, despite being in politics now for 20 years, my record at political forecasting is utterly terrible. So, for example, I was utterly convinced that the Brexit vote would go the other way. I was convinced that President Trump wouldn't get elected. And so all the big things I get wrong. So I don't know is the short answer. But what I do know is the Scottish Parliament is there for you. It's there for the people of Scotland. The Scottish Parliament doesn't belong to MSPs or politicians. It belongs to the people of Scotland. And it's a vehicle to a platform for you to discuss the things that matter to you. So whatever, when you look around you and you look at society and you think, well, this could be better, or I don't like that, or, why aren't we tackling poverty? Why don't we have better public services? Why is it that, if you're born in one part of Glasgow, your life expectancy is 10 years or 20 years even, in some cases, shorter than your neighbours, and what can we do about it? Well, there's a lot we can do about it, and the Scottish platform can't solve it all, can't solve all your problems, but it's there, you can discuss that. So whatever's on your mind, you can bring it to the floor of the Scottish Parliament and discuss what the best way forward is. And that's the message, but you have to always renew that message and remind people that the Parliament is theirs and theirs to use. So I'm hoping, actually, particularly with this, because it's creative, Scotland's a very creative place, and we're hoping that by using this film competition we're going to tap into that, just get a new insight, new reflections. So rather than me talking about what it was like 20 years ago and you should be grateful and all the rest of it, you're saying, well, I'm not grateful, look at the mess you've made of this place, and give us a new insight into what we could do and what needs to be tackled and how you might go about it. Apart from anything else, just the language we use. When the Parliament was set up, the broadcast facilities we had at the Parliament were state of the art, but already everybody accesses Parliament and politics now using Twitter, Facebook, social media, Instagram, whatever else. The newspapers are in decline, or certainly the numbers of readers are in decline. So we need to find new ways of reaching people, and I'm actually hoping that you're going to teach us.
Well, here's hoping.
Yeah.
Now, I know you've got a lot of other activities throughout the university today, so thank you very much for your time this morning. It was lovely to meet you, and thank you.
Thanks very much, Heather.
And thanks for everyone involved, and good luck to all the students taking part in the project. That's all for now. Bye-bye.
Fresh from a stint down under at the Commonwealth Games, it's back to business as usual for the UWS Sirens. Once a school-time staple, netball is experiencing a golden moment.
Well, everyone's just gotten so excited about it, and it's had such a real presence in the media, so it's getting a lot of people talking and interested and wanting to come to see the sport. So that's really good for us in the Super League overall, because we are hoping to get as many fans and spectators out as possible to support us and get more involved in the sport.
We've had so much support since the beginning of the season. Obviously we're only a few games into our season. We broke away for obviously the international period, and we're back together again to kind of kick off the remainder of the season. So it's nice to get back in the Sirens dress, and obviously with all that support, playing in Glasgow regularly. Obviously have home games away, but it's nice to be in our kind of home venue and have all that backing of the support from girls and boys, men and women from all over the country. So it's been really, really good.
We're really excited to get back into things. We've had our first chunk of the season, a break for the Commonwealth Games, and now we're into the swing of things again with the majority of games left to go. So we're really excited to get back on court and show everyone what we can do, and that we're an even better team than we were before the first half of the season.
9 of the Sirens represented Team Scotland at the Commonwealth Games in Australia's Gold Coast. And although they didn't bring home a medal, watching England clinch the gold in a nail-biting last-second goal gave the whole sport a huge boost.
Apart from the World Cup, the Commonwealth Games is the kind of biggest stage or platform that our sport can kind of be recognised on. The Commonwealth Games was great for us as a national squad. We went over there, we were in quite a tough pool, but some of the performances that we pulled out when we were over there were amazing, and it's testament to all the hard work that we've put in the past few years in the run-up to the Games.
Oh, it was phenomenal. It was just exceeded my expectations. It's just everything you could imagine. It was such an amazing environment to be in, and especially because it was a multi-sport environment, it was just such a good place to be, and especially competing against some of the best in the world. You can't beat that experience, so it was amazing, and I'm so privileged that I got the chance to go and represent Team Scotland.
I think it's really nice to be a positive role model for young children, young women, young girls that are obviously maybe new to sports or trying to get involved in sports, and we're obviously ambassadors for our particular sport. We just want to try and get as many people fit and active and healthy as we can, so if we can do that through netball, then that's great. But like I say, netball is one of those sports that anyone can play. it's great. It's not just great in terms of a healthy, active lifestyle kind of point of view, but also a social point of view. So yeah, if netball's what you think you would be into, then it's a definite way to get fit, get healthy and get active.
I'll maybe stick to journalism for now. Laura Alderman for UWS News.